I'm very grateful to Vidwan Padmanabha for giving me this opportunity to speak about Gharanas in Hindustani music. However, I must hasten to add that I am neither a musician nor a musicologist. So, interspersing my talk between two eminent musicians, one of whom Vidwanji already called Tiger, I feel like a goat between a tiger and a tigress. They say every tansen needs several hundred kansens. Kan being the Hindi name for the ear. I consider myself a kansen. So my observations on Gharanas are primarily based on my long listening experience rather than from any particular erudition. I will start my presentation with a short clip. All my clips are just about 1 minute, so you won't have to listen too much of music. I'll start my presentation with two short clips. The first one is of Gauhar Jan. Gauhar Jan was one of the most colorful musicians of a bygone era. She was born in 1873 and was of Armenian descent but an Indian national. She is among the very first ladies to be recorded by the gramophone companies at the turn of the last century. 1903 to 1910 was the time she was recorded. And I have chosen this particular clip because her last stint in music was in Mysore, where she was made the palace musician, and that is where she died in 1930, and that is where she is buried. The second is a 1925 clip of the celebrated musician of Karnataka who has made the greatest impact on current Hindustani music. Ramchandra Kundgolkar, aka Savai Gandharva. My interest in Gharanas came about sometime in the late 1970s when I was writing the biography of Padma Bhushan Ustad Khadim Hussain Khan, whom I consider one of the greatest teachers of the last century. That's the biography. whom I consider one of the greatest, and I was amazed at his lineage, which could be traced way back to the 14th century, from Naik Gopal of Devgiri, now called Daulatabad. I was fortunate also to get hold of a book called Sangeetagyon Ke Sansmaran, written by Vilayat Hussain Khan, who was the uncle of Khadim Hussain Khan, which was published in 1959 by the Central Sangeet Natak Academy. This book describes 14 gharanas that existed in its full splendor and glory in the 18th and 19th centuries. He gives names of all the prominent musicians of these 14 gharanas. Unfortunately, some of the gharanas described in that book are extinct, while some new gharanas came into being in the late 19th or early 20th century. Thereafter, I consulted many other books, had extensive discussions with ustads and pandits of that time of several gharanas, and piecing together all this information, it was clear, as my wife described in her lecture this morning, the advent of gharanas really came about after Aurangzeb banned music from the late 17th or early 18th centuries. During the reign of Akbar, as my wife mentioned this morning, or even earlier, musicians were classified under 4 banis known as Gobarhar, Nauhar, Khandar and Dagur Bani. Gharanas were obviously born from these 4 banis. And we have evidence of which gharanas came from which banis of some of them. And this slide will show you. Gobarhar Bani, the broadest of them, gave rise to the Gwalior, Kirana, Rampur-Sahaswan, Mewati, the Daraspia branch of Atrauli and the instrumental Senia Gharana. Nauhar Bani turned mainly into the Agra Gharana. Khan Saab's ancestor Naik Gopal came from Nauhar Bani, and my wife talked about Haji Sujan Khan. His original name was Sujan Das Nauhar. He was converted to Muslim, he was sent for the Hajj and became the celebrated Haji Sujan Khan. The Khandar Bani, from it emerged the Kawwal Bacche Gharana and the Sikandrabad or Rangila Gharana, while the Dagur Bani gave rise to the Saharanpur or the Dagar Gharana and the Atrauli branch of Alaliya Khan's ancestors. We can look at some of the special characteristics of gharanas that are in vogue today, but it must be understood that the original gharana styles have not been scrupulously maintained by the current musicians. With easy access to recordings of various musicians, they try to absorb and imbibe those aspects of different gharanas that appeal to them and make them part of their singing styles. However, certain broad characteristics are still discernible in those musicians who have been trained by traditional gharana ustads and pandits. As we go along, I will play some clips of prominent musicians of different gharanas to appreciate the distinctive styles of the singing. Many of the clips are extracts from the recordings I personally made in the 1970s. We were very lucky to be able to record them simply because I'll narrate a small incident about Ustad Khadim Hussain Khan. Khan Saab told us, you must listen to all the musicians of all the gharanas. Then only you will get a broad view and an understanding of the different gharanas, which you can absorb whenever you feel that they are akin to your singing style. So, I remember still, a great Ustad like Khadim Hussain Khan would sit right in front, even for very young musicians, and he would sit there and say, "Wah beta, bahut acha, kya baat hai," thus giving encouragement to the youngsters. And this brought us so close to different gharana musicians that even senior gharana musicians did not hesitate to allow me to record them. So some of the clips I am going to play are from my own recordings done in the 1970s. I will be omitting the honorifics Ustad, Pandit, Vidushi, not because I have any disrespect for them, but only to shorten my presentation. So please bear with me for that. I will talk about the Agra Atrauli Gharana last, because that is the Gharana that I most adore. The most popular gharana today is undoubtedly the Kirana, especially in Karnataka. This gharana more or less started with Abdul Karim Khan and his cousin Abdul Wahid Khan, who hailed from the Kirana village. These days it's in the paper for all the wrong reasons. That's where all the problems took. Same Kirana village is where Abdul Karim Khan and Abdul Wahid Khan came from. Their ancestors were Beankars and Sarangiyas who descended from the Gobarhari Bani. I would say that the essence of the Kirana style is sur and melody. And it was the Kirana musicians who popularized the singing of khyals in very slow vilambit tals, as you heard. I once asked Khadim Hussain Khan, who is the most surreal musician you have heard, Khan Sahab? He said, undoubtedly it is Abdul Karim Khan. He says, I have never heard a voice like that before, and I don't think I'll ever hear a voice like that before. That was Abdul Karim Khan. And again, a very senior musician of Delhi, of Calcutta, called A. Kanan. Some of you may have heard the name. He was a very dear friend of ours. He once told us that when he was listening to Abdul Karim Khan, when he reached the Tar Shadja, he was so surreal that you could hardly distinguish his voice from the tanpuras. It was so absolutely in tune. And he says, I've never had that kind of experience. My hair stood on my end. It was so surreal. That was Abdul Karim Khan. So no wonder that the Kirana Gharana is so popular today. Abdul Karim Khan trained several disciples. Prominent among them, Savai Gandharva, of course, Roshanara Begum, Ganpat Bua Behre, Suresh Babu Mane, Hirabai Badodekar, and Kapileshwari Bua, who in turn groomed numerous disciples. Hirabai Badodekar was the daughter of Abdul Karim Khan and a legend in her lifetime. But it was Abdul Wahid Khan who groomed her into the ace performer that she was. In my generation, apart from Hirabai, the most popular musicians were Savai Gandharva's three disciples, Bhimsen Joshi, Gangubai Hangal, and Firoz Dastur. Other well-known musicians of the Gharana include the brothers Niyaz Ahmad and Fayaz Ahmad, who were Abdul Karim Khan's grandnephews, Panchakshari Gavai, Puttaraj Gavai, Basavaraj Rajguru, Sangameshwar Gurav, Arjun Sa Nakod, Prabha Atre, and the list goes on and on and on. And in particularly among the younger generation in Karnataka, like Venkatesh Kumar, whose brilliant recital you heard just now, and Onkar Havaldar before that. Both belong to the Kirana Gharana. Please listen to a short clip of Abdul Karim Khan. Now listen to Firoz Dastur, disciple of Abdul Karim Khan's disciple's disciple, that is Savai Gandharva's disciple, singing the same composition which I recorded myself you will see how close his singing style is to Abdul Karim Khan's, giving a glimpse of what Guru Shishya Parampara means. Amir Khan also belonged to the Kirana Gharana, having mastered the Gaiki of Abdul Wahid Khan. However, he introduced several stylized nuances, especially in sargams and tans, and in addition, Amir Khan made the Vilambit tals even slower. So his disciples tend to call it the Indore Gharana because he came from Indore, although he really belonged to the Kirana Gharana. Listen to a clip of Rag Bihag where his real nuances of sargams and tans come out. The Gwalior Gharana is like a mother Gharana, as many other popular Gharanas in vogue today are offshoots of the Gwalior Gharana. I think it's the most disciplined Gharana among all, because, if I may use that expression, disciplined, because they strictly adhere to the structure and theme of the composition, even while improvising freely and spontaneously. The fountainhead of the Gharana was the legendary Nathan Pir Baksh. His famous grandsons, the trio of Haddu Khan, Hassu Khan and Nathu Khan, and Haddu Khan's son Rahmat Khan, were the main pillars of the Gharana. They trained numerous disciples, among them Balkrishna Bua Ichhal Karanjikar, Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, Shankar Pandit and Joshi Bua. Balkrishna Bua's prominent disciples were Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, Shankar Pandit, Anant Manohar Joshi, father of Gajanan Bua Joshi, and Mirashi Bua. Shankar Pandit's disciples were Krishna Rao Pandit, Raja Bhaiya Puchwale, and Sharat Chandra Aurolkar. while Vishnu Digambar Poluskar groomed many great musicians like Omkarnath Thakur, Narayan Rao Vyas, Vinayak Rao Patwardhan, B.R. Devdhar, his own son D.V. Paluskar, and many others, including Govind Vittal Bhave, who made Bangalore his home. Guru Rao Deshpande also belonged to the Gwalior Gharana. In more recent times, the Gwalior Gharana has been popularized by musicians like Yashwant Bua Joshi, Ullas Kashalkar, Sharad Sathe, Malini Rajurkar, Veena Sahasrabuddhe, and so many others. The traditional Gwalior musicians usually sing their khyals in Madhyalay Tal, and their favorite Tal is Tilwada, the 16-beat Tilwada, which is quite popular in the West. Tappas, whose stance reminds one of a spinning top, are the speciality of the Gwalior Gharana because the originator of the Tappa style, by name Mia Ghulam Nabi Shori, or popularly known as Shori Mia, though a Punjabi, came and settled in Gwalior and greatly influenced the Gwalior musicians. The lyrics of the Tappas are usually in Punjabi. The Gwalior musicians have a very large repertoire of ragas and compositions, including a whole lot of ashtapadis. The Gharanedar Gwalior musicians whom I have heard and much enjoyed are Krishna Rao Pandit and Bala Saheb Puchwale. Listen to their short clips which were made when they were well into their 70s, but their Gharana style comes out of this. The clip of Krishna Rao is a khyal, while Bala Saheb's is a tappa. The offshoot of Gwalior that I greatly admire is the Rampur-Sahaswan Gharana for its colorful style of singing khyals, taranas and even lighter pieces. The founder of this Gharana was Inayat Hussain Sahaswan Wale, who was the son-in-law of the Gwalior maestro Haddu Khan. He was a master of khayals and taranas and was the court musician of the Nawab of Rampur. And from there, the gharana came to be known as Rampur-Sahaswan Gharana. His two sons-in-law, Mushtaq Hussain and Nisar Hussain, are responsible for popularizing this singing style all over India. Mushtaq Hussain was known as a very pious man, and he was very great expert in rendering what is called Soz Marsiya, which is sung by the Muslims during Muharram. Our very popular Rashid Khan is the grandnephew and direct disciple of Nisar Hussain. Now listen to a short clip of Nisar Hussain, whom I greatly adored, personally knew well, and also had the privilege of recording some of his live concerts. Notice how his ebullient character seeps through his tarana rendition. The fountainhead of the Mewati Gharana was the 19th century maestro Ghagge Nazir Khan of Jodhpur, who also descended from the Gwalior Khandan. Nazir Khan's disciple Nathulal groomed his nephew Motiram, who groomed his two sons Maniram and Pratap Narayan, and Maniram in turn groomed his youngest brother Pandit Jasraj. Jasraj's brilliance enabled him to amalgamate some of the stylistic aspects of Amir Khan and Begum Akhtar, whom he greatly adored, thus evolving a unique style of his own. Jasraj and many of his disciples are prominent musicians today, whom many of you or almost all of you would have heard. So I am not playing any clips of their music. Although Aurangzeb banished music from the Mughal court, those musicians who belonged to Delhi and continued to practice and propagate their art in their homes, and thus was born the Delhi Gharana. The colossus of this Gharana was Qutub Baksh, also known as Tan Ras Khan, because his great prowess in singing super fast tans in perfect sur. This tradition has been continued to this day in Delhi by musicians like Iqbal Ahmad Khan, whom we knew quite well when we were in Delhi. Unfortunately, I am unable to lay my hands readily on any recordings that highlight the characteristic of the Delhi Gharana. Now, the Jaipur-Atrauli Gharana, made so popular by the greats like Kesarbai Kerkar, Mallikarjun Mansur, Mogubai Kurdikar and Kishori Amonkar, has a very interesting origin. The founder of this Gharana was the musical genius Allah Dia Khan. His ancestors originally hailed from Atrauli village near Aligarh. But for several generations, they lived in a place called Uniara in Rajasthan and followed the Daguri tradition of Alap, Dhrupad and Dhamar. But even Alladia Khan had most of his training from his uncle Jahangir Khan in Uniara in the Dhrupad tradition. However, when Alladia Khan was invited to Jaipur by the Maharaja, one of the Jaipur Darbar court musicians was Mubarak Ali Kawwal Bache. You must have seen the name Kawwal Bache Gharana in one of the 14 Gharanas in Vilayat Hussein's book. It was the first Gharana he describes. Mubarak Ali Khan Kawwal Bache's music was such and his tans completely mesmerized Alladia Khan, and he converted his Dhrupad Gaiki into a Tan Pradhan Khayal Gaiki, and he taught numerous disciples that same Gaiki. Now he had a problem. What do you call that style? He evolved a style in Jaipur, so he decided to call it Jaipur Gharana or Jaipur style. But Jaipur Gharana was already in existence with the famous and legendary Rajab Ali Khan Bhinkar of Jaipur, who was the Maharaja's guru. So he added a suffix of Atrauli, his ancestor's village, and called it Jaipur-Atrauli Gharana. And that's the name by which it is known. Since this Gharana singers usually outline the entire composition in medium tempo and at the outset itself, and then embellish the structure with scintillating patterns of rhythm and melody with long, intricate and tuneful tans. To illustrate the singing styles of this Gharana, I will play clips of the same Rag Nand sung by Kesarbai Kerkar, followed by our own Mallikarjun Mansur. Though they both have their individualities, it will be seen that their tan patterns have a general similarity, which I am sure must have been shaped after Mubarak Ali Kawal Bache. Kishore Amonkar has developed her own unique and hauntingly beautiful singing style, using her mother's Mogubai's talim and the significant inputs she received from Anwar Hussain Khan, who is the younger brother of Khadim Hussain Khan. And using that as a foundation, she created a magnificent edifice with her aesthetic imagination and creative brilliance. Numerous recordings of Kishore Amonkar are available in the public domain, which illustrate how her singing style is quite unique and rather different from the rest of the Jaipur people. And it's often mesmerizing. The Patiala Gharana is another singing style widely popularized by Bade Ghulam Ali Khan and his brother Barkat Ali Khan. This style specializes in the presentational aspect through an exuberance of spirit and a sense of abandon, which was particularly noticeable in the renderings of Bade Ghulam Ali Khan. At this point, I would like to mention a word about sargam singing in Hindustani music. Khadim Hussain Khan maintained that old-time ustads never sang sargams in their public concerts, but used them only to understand the various nuances of the ragas during riyaz. It was Abdul Karim Khan who introduced the singing of sargams in Hindustani music based on his close association with Carnatic musicians. As you know, Abdul Karim Khan toured the south quite widely. At the same time, sargam singing was prevalent in the Punjab, and it was Bade Ghulam Ali Khan who introduced the Punjab ang of sargam, which is very common And this was further honed by Amir Khan. And today, sargam singing is very common among Hindustani practitioners. But the exception is probably the Jaipur-Atrauli Gharana musicians who don't tend to sing sargams at all in their regular concerts. Coming back to the Patiala Gharana, it must also be mentioned that apart from the very beautiful singing style of Khayal, their repertoire includes the Punjab Ang Thumris, which are quite unique and pleasing and somewhat different from the Purab Ang Thumris popularized by Siddheshwari Devi, Rasulan Bai and others. The Patiala tradition is carried forward by the progeny of Bade Ghulam Ali Khan and also by Ajay Chakravarti of Calcutta and his many disciples, including his daughter Kaushiki. Here are clips of Bade Ghulam Ali Khan's Khayal and Barkat Ali Khan's Punjab Ang Thumri. Punjab Ang Sargams. Another gharana from the Punjab is called the Sham Chaurasi Gharana, which was popularized by the Pakistani duo Nazakat Ali and Salamat Ali, which is being carried forward by their progeny. A gharana that is particularly popular in Western India is the Bhendi Bazar Gharana. The exponents of this gharana originally hail from Moradabad, but instead of calling their singing style after their hometown, they preferred to call it Bhendi Bazar because that was the suburb of Bombay where the musicians came and settled down very comfortably. The founders of this gharana are Chajju Khan and his brothers Nazir Khan and Khadim Hussain, not to be confused our Guru Khadim Hussain. Chajju Khan's son Aman Ali Khan and Nazir Khan's disciple Anjani Bai Malpekar took this gharana to great heights in Western Maharashtra, Western India, and groomed several disciples. Prominent among them are Shiv Kumar Shukla, Ramesh Nadkarni, T.D. Janorikar, Master Navarang and others who took this gharana to great heights. Janorikar's disciple Suhasini Koratkar continues to propagate this tradition in Pune. Aman Ali Khan's composition Lagi Lagana in Hamsadvani shaped exactly after the traditional Vatapi Ganapatim Bhaje, is sung, very popular and sung by musicians of most Gharanas. I will play a clip of the composition sung by the senior Calcutta musician A. Kanan in our house. Any narration on Gharanas will be incomplete without mentioning the most popular dhrupad gharana of the Dagars. The fountainhead of this gharana was Behram Khan, who hailed from Saharanpur. So earlier it was known as the Saharanpur Gharana. He was a great scholar of Sanskrit and was endearingly known as Pandit Behram Khan when he was the court musician in Jaipur. His grandnephews come disciples, Allah Bande Khan and Zakiruddin Khan, are primarily responsible for the Jugalbandi tradition in dhrupad singing. Khadim Hussain Khan Sahab has heard them and he said, "In bhaiyon ka alap bilkul la jawab tha." There was no answer to their alap. It was such a beautiful alap. Allah Bande Khan's sons were Nasiruddin Khan and Rahimuddin Khan, and I have had the great privilege of listening to Rahimuddin Khan, even though he was quite old at the time we heard him. The famous Dhrupadiyas, the senior and junior Dagar brothers, were the sons of Nasiruddin Khan. Zakiruddin Khan's son was Ziauddin Khan, and his sons were the famous Beankar Zia Mohiuddin and the Drupadiya Zia Fariduddin. The current torchbearers of this tradition, Gundecha brothers and Uday Bhavalkar, are the disciples of Zia Fariduddin Dagar. The Bean tradition is being carried forward by Zia Mohiuddin's son Bahauddin. To fully appreciate the niceties and subtleties of the Dhrupad tradition, one has to listen to a full hour of Alapchari. But here I can only play a short clip of the senior Dagar brothers Moinuddin and Aminuddin singing their favorite rag Kamboji. Now you can check whether it's the same Kamboji as in South Indian. To my ears it sounds like Jinjoti. Dhrupad singing is also quite prevalent in many places, and particularly in the Bihar town of Darbhanga, where the progeny of the late Siaram Tiwari and Ram Chatur Malik are continuing this tradition. I think I've reached almost the end, so finally I will come to the Agra Atrauli Gharana. The Agra Gharana is a direct descendant of Nauhar Bani, as I said. And the founder of this Gharana in its present form is Ghagge Khudabakhsh. He had his grooming from his elders, his parents and others in the dhrupad tradition from his Khandan, but he also had the unique privilege of intense talim in the Khayal style under the Gwalior fountainhead Nathan Pir Bakhsh, thus combining the beauties and intricacies of both the styles. Ghaggeji's nephew and disciple Sher Khan, that is his elder brother's son, was the first musician to bring the Agra Gharana to Bombay in 1830. So, the connection of Bombay with Agra Gharana is almost 200 years old. And it's carried over by all the ustads of Agra Gharana in Bombay, including where Lalit learned, was also in Bombay. The sons of Ghulam Abbas, of Ghagge Khudabakhsh, Ghulam Abbas Khan and Kallan Khan were the pillars of the Agra Gharana who thoroughly groomed, can you believe, the next 3 generations of ustads. Khadim Hussain Khan was the great-grand-nephew of Kallan Khan. And when he was 9 years old, Kallan Khan was 75 and he taught him till the last day of his death when he was 90 years old. He had literally 14 years of intense talim from Kallan Khan, the son of the founder Ghagge Khudabakhsh. So Khadim Hussain Khan's music comes from the previous century. The Gharana had another lasting influence from the Gobar Harbani Atrauli Gharana of the legendary Mehboob Khan Daraspiya. This was through a series of intermarriages over 3 generations, and the resultant multifaceted Gayaki can only be now called Agra Atrauli Gharana because the 2 Gharanas have literally merged through these intermarriages. Sher Khan's son Nathan Khan was the ace performer of the 19th century, and he also was the first Hindustani Asthana Gavaya of the Mysore Darbar. And his son Abdullah Khan was the next, and the third was Gauhar Jan. Ghaggeji's great-grandson Fayaz Khan was undoubtedly the colossus of the 20th century. Although Fayaz Khan was showered with various titles by different Maharajas and Nawabs, the title Aftab-e-Mausiqi, which was conferred on him by the Maharaja of Mysore, was the one that he was always known by. With so many influences of different gharanas, I would say that the current Agra Atrauli singing style has almost all the angs or aspects of classical music. But I would say that Sur Ka Lagao, Bol Banao and Laikari are the specialities of this gharana. Some gharana musicians say that the words of a khyal are not important. It's only the sur that matters. However, Agra Atrauli musicians often develop the khyal using the meaning of the words of the composition, and to illustrate the point, I will play a short recording of Khadim Hussain Khan singing the rag Bhim, not Bhimpalas but Bhim.
जाके मिलूं कैसे मिलन भाई को निराश हो रही है यानी ये बोल बनेगा मगर बोल में जो उसका अर्थ है वो ही उसी तरह का बोल बनेगा तेरी सखी चलेगा सखी कैसे तेरी सखी कैसे तेरी सखी कैसे सखी सखी कैसे की Shri
I mentioned about the Purab Ang and Punjab Ang Thumris. It was in 1981, I think. 1981, if I remember right. And also, was it in our house? No, it was in Rang Bhavan in Bombay. I mentioned about the Purab Ang and the Punjabi Ang Thumris. An important part of the Agra Gharana is the Bandish Thumri. Vidwan Padmanabha requested me the other day that I should play a short clip of the Agra Gharana maestro, Fayaz Khan. I will therefore play a short clip of Fayaz Khan singing a Bandish Thumri in the Rag Kafi with a distinct tappa style, where his powerful singing style comes through so clearly. I would like to take the liberty of mentioning here that a section of our population in India is against chanting Vande Mataram. But here the great Ustad is singing Vande Nandakumaram. That is the great Aftab-e-Mausiki Fayaz Khan. In my opinion, there are three streams of the Agra-Atrauli Gharana. The first is made up of the Khandani Agra Ustads like Nathan Khan, Abdullah Khan, Fayaz Khan, Vilayat Hussain, Yunus Hussain and their disciples from both within and outside the Khandan. The second stream comprises Ustads of the Atrauli Khandan like Ata Hussain, Khadim Hussain, Latafat Hussain, Sharafat Hussain and their numerous disciples. Though born in the Atrauli Khandan, they had intensive talim from the Agra Ustads who were their maternal uncles and maternal granduncles. They were greatly influenced by none other than the Aftab-e-Mausiki Fayaz Khan, because they always gave vocal support to Fayaz Khan in all his concerts. You have seen photographs of Latafat Hussain, Sharafat Hussain, Khadim Hussain, all of them singing behind Fayaz Khan. The third stream came through Fayaz Khan's disciple Anna Sahib Ratanjankar and his disciples Chidanand Nagarkar, S.C.R. Bhatt, Sumati Mutatkar, Krishna Chotu Ginde, Dinkar Kaikini. All the three streams have produced outstanding musicians who are continuing to pass this vidya to innumerable disciples. Many people say that the Agra Gharana is primarily a Mardana or a masculine style. But I will play a short clip of Zorabai Agrewali, a disciple of Sher Khan and Kallan Khan, who was among the earliest musicians along with Gauhar Jan to be recorded several 78 RPM records cut when the gramophone companies had just started to record Indian musicians. Notice how the typical characteristics of the Agra style come through just 1 minute of Zorabai's rendering. And with this beautiful clip, I will conclude my presentation and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention and patience. Please listen to Zorabai. Zorabai, I am from Agra.